Grace and peace. Welcome to Judah's Roar Domestic Violence Awareness Initiative YouTube channel. I'm your host, Apostle Cheryl. Now, before we get started, take a few seconds, check down here under the video, and make sure you subscribe if you've not done so already. And then make sure you click that bell so that you receive notifications every time we upload a new video. We upload a new video every Sunday evening at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. And thank you for taking the time to do that. Also, did you know you can share this video even while you're watching this video? So if you want to partner with us, another way that you can do so is to share these videos. Share, share, share. All right? Okay, let's get started. Today's topic is, ready? Today's topic is, it was all an illusion. It was all an illusion. What was an illusion? All of it. The whole thing. The whole entire thing. That toxic relationship, that wackadoodle relationship, that violent relationship, that abusive relationship. At the onset, it was all an illusion. Now, why do I say that? Because it's not very likely that when you first met this individual, that their head was spinning around and they were spitting out green stuff, right? Like in those horror movies. I'm pretty sure they presented as appealing to you on some level. So, what's the purpose of this video? This video is designed to challenge you, to take a closer look at that relationship. Whether it's a past relationship or a current relationship, take a closer look at a toxic relationship that you have encountered and identify two things. Number one, what drew you to it in the first place? Because for each of us, it might be something a little different. Okay, so we're going to look at what drew you to it in the first place. And then, here's the hard part. I'm hoping that you'll be able to, at the end of this video, identify what need it met for you in your life at that time. Okay? So, it was all an illusion. What illusion am I referring to? The white picket fence. The riding off into the sunset together. Living happily ever after, like in the fairy tales. It's you and me against the world. We're going to have a white picket fence, 2.5 kids, a turtle, a poodle, and summer vacations. A ministry partner. I love the Lord, right? You love the Lord, right? So we're going to have this tremendous ministry together. We're going to blend our ministries together, and we are going to be on fire for God, and we are going to go forth in power. Okay? Or you thought this individual was going to be your very best friend, your closest confidant, someone that you could trust with all of your hopes and dreams and wishes and desires and pains and disappointments, right? Someone that you could be completely and totally vulnerable with, and you could trust them to handle you with care, okay? So, if you can think of some other illusions that I've not addressed, do feel free to drop them in the comments. Drop them in the comments, okay? It might help someone who watches this video. Now, again, the purpose of this video is to challenge you to identify what drew you to that relationship in the first place. And invariably, there are some hopes and dreams and desires, that we have for what we want our life to look like, right? And for who we want to spend our life with and who we want to build a future with. The problem is, beloved, if you're in a toxic relationship, they aren't what they appeared at the outset. Truth be told, when we look back, at best, that toxic relationship was a daunting disappointment. At worst, it was a horrific nightmare from which we thought we may very well not ever wake up from. Okay? So either way, it's bad. Either way, it is bad. So let's take a look at the beginning of the relationship. What drew you to the abuser? What drew you to them? Him or her? Because anyone can be a victim and anyone can be an abuser. So, what drew you to the abuser? Were they really handsome or pretty, nice looking? Did they smell good? Did they dress well? Um, did they have a flair for the dramatic? Were they soft spoken and seemingly kind? Um, were they financially stable? Sometimes the things that draw us to others are practical things. They don't have anything to do with, physical appearance, but it's what they embody or what we think they embody. Okay. Maybe they're a hard worker. Maybe they've had the same job for eons. They've been working the same place 20, 25 years. That means that they're reliable, right? And consistent and responsible, right? Or does it? Or does it? It could mean that they lack vision, that they lack drive, that they settle easily. It could mean that they don't want much out of life. It could mean that they couldn't make it anywhere else, that they had to find a little cubby hole, okay? And certainly if they like work overnights or something where they don't have to be involved with other humans and they don't have to play nicely with others, okay? These are things that we can look at and we can view them one way, and then in retrospect it's like, whoa, that's not what that meant at all. It didn't mean that they were consistent and responsible. It meant that maybe they lacked drive and motivation. Something to consider. Okay. Did they have goals? Did they have goals? But in retrospect, did they ever do anything? Did they ever put feet to those goals? Did they ever do anything to accomplish the things that they kept talking about they wanted to achieve in life? Okay. Maybe they were educated, well educated, right? If you've been watching our videos, you understand that that means absolutely nothing. That there are many, many, many well educated abusers on the earth. Okay. So maybe they're an entrepreneur. That's good, right? To want to have your own business and to build an empire. That's good, right? Or it could mean they struggle to get along with other people, that no one can tell them anything, that they don't value anybody else's opinions or input. There's more than one way to look at these things, okay? There's a tendency for us to see what we need to see depending on where we are in our life at that time. Or maybe they're a bad boy. Maybe they're a bad girl. They live on the edge. They take a walk on the wild side. They take chances. They're daredevils. Okay, maybe that appeals to us. Okay, or maybe they're a risk taker. That's good, right? They don't mind taking chances for what they believe in. They don't mind getting out there on the edge. Is that good or not? Is it good or not? Okay. Or, or, and this applies, I don't know, a very great deal to victims of abuse who are people of faith, who are spiritual people. Are they woebegone and downtrodden? Have they gone through the school of hard knocks? Are they misunderstood by absolutely everyone in society? Are you perhaps the only human that understands them? Do they have a history of childhood domestic violence? Have they been abused themselves previously? Have they been incarcerated? Here's one. Are they in recovery for any reason? Recovery from substance abuse, recovery from pornography, in recovery from gambling. Are they in recovery? Which is an ongoing process. Okay. Are they a convicted felon and they're really trying to just start their life over and build their life over? Are they a project for you? Are they a project? Do they need your guidance and your expertise and your knowledge and your connections to build the better life that they say that they want? Why am I talking about these things? Because these are all things that if we don't discern them properly on the front end, you'll meet them on the tail end, and it'll be a nightmare, a complete nightmare. And so it's all about how we frame these things. It's all about what context we're viewing them in and what headspace are we in when we are viewing it. Okay. What are we looking for when we examine these things? And are we able to be objective? Okay. I can tell you that if you've not done the work since your previous abusive relationship, that your brain is not processing things properly. And so many of these things will be interpreted in the way that you need to interpret them in order to justify what it is you really feel that you need to do at this point in time in your life. Okay. So it's kind of like if they're a project for you, uh, this mission, if you choose to accept it, is to fix this human being who is broken and downtrodden and who has no one and no one understands them. Now, listen to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. I'm certainly not saying that everyone who's in recovery or everyone who's a convicted felon that you know they don't have great intentions. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is if they are going to be a project for you, let's just say you successfully rebuild this human, which is not possible because you didn't make them, so you can't build them. Okay. When they're all fixed and everything's going great and they're stable and you've used your credit to help them get reestablished and you bought them a car and you bought them a house and you know, married them or whatever else you've done, what do they need you for at that point? Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, if the character was a hot mess, the character is still a hot mess in a new house or a new car, okay? Or with 2.5 kids, a poodle, a turtle, and summer vacations. All right? So let's look at what what causes any victim to continue to engage. So what's the question? Here's the question. Here's the question. What need, don't get mad at me, what need did that relationship, with all of its drama and all of its terror and all of its disappointment, what need did it meet, at least initially? At least initially, okay? What need did it meet? It was meeting a need, or you were convinced that it would, okay? It's important to identify and to be able to acknowledge that, yes, I was in an abusive relationship. Yes, I was in a toxic relationship. But aside from acknowledging the obvious, it's important to be able to identify what drew you to it in the first place. What void was there in your life? What void was there that needed so desperately to be filled that we could look at these different characteristics and interpret them in such a way that we gave ourselves permission to continue? All right. We're all about getting folk free over here. We're all about getting folk free, not just rehearsing the misery, not just rehearsing the abuse, not, not focusing so much on the abuser that we neglect ourselves. But Judah's Roar Domestic Violence Awareness Initiative is committed to helping people to see what they need to see about themselves, so that they can walk free and remain free for the rest of their life. We are about igniting hearts, inspiring minds, and safeguarding destinies. That's our purpose. That's our purpose. So sometimes our videos will be fairly easy to watch and sometimes they might sting a little, okay? But it's important that we be candid with you so that you can continue to grow no matter where you are in your journey. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at an illusion. One of the things that I think is important that we take away from this video is that when we're trying to figure out what it is that drew us to a relationship in the first place, a toxic one, sometimes with all the red flags flapping in the breeze, we still engage. What I've learned is it often seems, at least on the surface, to provide the one thing that we feel that we were deprived of in a previous relationship. They present that one thing, whether it is a nurturing, concerned attitude towards you, or whether it's they are fiercely protective of you and your previous partner was not, whether it is they don't curse at you, or they don't use profanity, or they don't use drugs, or they don't smoke, they don't go to the club, they don't do things that made you uncomfortable on the front end. Okay. And so that makes them appealing. So often it's the lack of something that we found abusive in a previous relationship, the absence of that one thing that will start us down this path, being curious, inquisitive, interested in something that ultimately turns out to just be an illusion. The other thing that I've learned is that oftentimes it will confirm something that we need to believe about ourselves that is positive. It will confirm that we are empathic, that we are compassionate, that we are a good person. By engaging with someone who is woebegone or downtrodden, or who society looks down upon, or who society shunned. And so engaging with them makes us the exception to the rule. Everyone else has let them down. And so we're not going to be like those people who weren't compassionate, who weren't Christ-like, who weren't spiritual. Okay. So we can confirm something that we want to believe about ourselves, something that we pride ourselves on, as a matter of fact. Okay. Or it can counter some negative thing that we really do believe about ourselves. Like maybe we aren't compassionate enough. Maybe we aren't understanding enough. Maybe we are selfish and we believe that about ourselves. And so then we go out of our way to counter that by proving that we are not that. Proving that we're working on that we're trying to improve, okay? So it can either fill a void of something that we feel that we were deprived of in a previous relationship, that one thing, and we get focused on that one thing and we ignore all the other red flags. Okay. It can confirm a positive thing that we believe about ourselves, being compassionate, being a good person, or it can counter a negative thing that we believe about ourselves, that we're selfish or self-centered or not understanding or judgmental. Okay. And so engaging in these relationships meets some kind of need. And it's important that we identify what that is so that we can set about meeting that need in a healthy, positive way. An illusion is something that is unattainable from the outset. It's not possible to attain it, okay? And it's a synonym for the word mirage. Now, what is a mirage? An optical effect, don't miss this. This blew my mind. An optical effect that may have the appearance of a pool of water, if you're in the desert, right? In which distant objects are seen inverted, and that is caused by the bending or reflection of rays of light. What does that got to do with the relationship? Listen to this. Catch this revelation. It is something that we see, right? It is something that we see in our mind's eye that has the appearance of relief from wherever we are in our life at that time. Relief from loneliness, relief from isolation, relief from pain and trauma from a previous relationship. But this new relationship appears to be relief. So it's an optical effect. It's something that we see. in our mind's eye. Okay. Now check this out. In which distant objects are seen inverted. That means they're flipped upside down. So we're not even seeing them properly, right? And so when you're in this state where you feel deprived, or you feel this drought in your spirit, or within yourself, then what you're viewing, you're not viewing clearly. And so we're seeing things flipped upside down, okay? And that's caused by the bending or reflection of rays of light. Now, what is light? Truth. Truth. When the truth is bent, when the truth is bent, it can appear to be real, okay? It is something that is unattainable. Unattainable. It's not possible. You can't get there from here. You can't take those things, you can't take those components and build what it is you're trying to build. What it is you desire to build may be admirable, but you don't have the proper supplies to build it successfully. Okay? Synonyms: delusion, illusion. Something that is believed to be true or real, but that is actually false or unreal. It goes back to that truth. It goes back to those rays of light being bent. Okay? Often as the result of a disordered state of mind. What do you mean by that? Underlying sadness, underlying depression, low self-esteem, just the stressors of life can cause your state of mind to become disordered. An illusory vision, dream, hope, or aim. What is illusory? Based on something that is not real or true. And so when we enter these relationships, based on assumptions that are not true and that do not authentically apply to the individual in which we are seeking or, entering this relationship with. So it is deceptive, surreal, concocted, fabricated, or just plain old non-existent. Non-existent, okay? The word illusory implies a false impression based on a deceptive resemblance or faulty observation, or influenced by emotions that prevent a clear view. The opposite of illusory: authentic, genuine, true, factual, and solid. Okay, so what have we been talking about? I'm pretty sure this has been challenging for many of you to listen, and prayerfully you listen all the way to the end. But we're talking about how it was all an illusion. And the issue is that, we as victims can embark on a journey in a relationship based on facts that, as we just described, are not true. They're not true. And where there's nothing wrong with what we desire to build or create in these relationships, the problem is you don't have the proper building materials, and they are not present in that other person. The things that you need to build what it is you desire, okay, are not present in that person. And they cannot give you what they do not have. They can pretend to have what you need for a season, okay, before the mask falls away. We've been talking about how it was all an illusion. Prayerfully, this video will help you to understand how you gravitated to an abusive relationship in the first place, and identify what need it is that relationship met, at least initially, so that you can work towards meeting those needs in a healthy, productive manner. This is Apostle Cheryl with Judah's Roar Domestic Violence Awareness Initiative. We'll see you next week. You stay safe out there. Blessings to you.